Josh Hawley just dropped the biggest bombshell.
What I think is the American people are sending us a clear message, and I hope that they are watching this. They're sending us a message that they want us to behave as they behave.
In a recent Senate hearing, the Missouri senator introduced a bill to ban stock trading for members of Congress. And later, Caroline Leavitt went into detail about why this reform was long overdue.
In 2024, Nancy Pelosi's stock portfolio, this was a fascinating statistic to me, grew 70%.
Well, she isn't the greatest stock trader of all time for no reason. And that's why today we're covering it all. Because we're not here to follow parties blindly. We're here for common sense. So if you're an independent thinker, hit the subscribe button and let's jump right into it.
And so I'm trying to be able to track a couple of things. Senator Slotkin brought this issue up of the qualified blind trust. That has been allowed to be able to say, if you are a big stockholder and you have it, you chose to be able to sell yours off. Some others come into it and say, hey, I have stock holdings. I'm not one of those, by the way. They would come in and say, I'm going to put all this in a qualified blind trust. They're prohibited from having communication with them. That person is actually managing it, and they're separated totally. This bill would say, no, you can't do that anymore. Why would that be?
A couple of things. Number one, if you have a qualified blind trust and you are a member of Congress, again, you have until the beginning of your next term, should the voters see fit to reelect you.
No, I get that. But then after that, it's prohibited on it. So
correct. So for those who know ahead of time that they're going to be joining this body, they can no longer use qualified blind trust. And the reason for that is, as you know, the rules on qualified blind trusts are not airtight. They're actually very loose. It is very difficult to police. You don't police them in the Ethics Committee.
Well, the Ethics Committee, thank you for mentioning that. Ethics Committee does police that. So thanks for telling me what I don't do. We do police that.
Well, Senator Lankford, if the Ethics Committee were policing things properly, why are there still so many lawmakers accused of profiting from insider trading? And for some context, this debate took place just recently as Senator Hawley reintroduced the Pelosi Act, which would effectively ban lawmakers, the president, vice president, and their spouses from holding, purchasing, or selling stocks for the duration of their time in office. The idea is simple. Eliminate conflicts of interest and restore trust in government. And here's where it gets interesting. The bill passed the committee with 8 in favor and 7 against. And all Republicans on the panel, save Hawley, voting against it. Going back to the debate, Lankford was continuing to question the merits of the bill, failing to address the elephant in the room.
What about individuals that had stocks when they came? Why should they sell it to be able to be here? Why not just have a flat-out prohibition to say you can no longer buy, no longer sell? If you have it, stock market goes up and down, you can't touch it.
There is a ban on trading that would take effect immediately for all members, not just new members who are coming in, but for all members. So I've been saying over and over that you have until your next term, should you be reelected, in order to divest. But you make the important point that the trading would be prohibited immediately.
Right.
Your question is why even in the next term require people to divest? I think that the answer to that is because you know what you own, presumably. I mean, you know that you have assets in the following securities. That constitutes a financial interest, a pecuniary interest. And it presents a conflict of interest to be getting briefings, voting on legislation, doing these things where you know you could be increasing or decreasing the value of your portfolio.
We also have farmers that are here in Congress that they vote on farm policy, and they also have ag provisions as well. And so you can't eliminate all provisions that are out there on that.
Well, I don't think you can compare the two without sounding ridiculous. Farmers are the backbone of this country, and insider traders are the parasites who are using classified information to enrich themselves through Wall Street. It's also ironic that Rick Scott, the second wealthiest man in Congress, is sitting in the middle of this debate, looking visibly uncomfortable, trying to hide his pain.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
He even had the audacity to justify his vote against the bill, saying, quote, "I don't know where in this country it became a negative to make money." Adding, "How many of you don't want to make money? Anybody want to be poor?" It's almost as if this bill hit him where it hurts the most. And make no mistake, this isn't an attack on Republicans only, as Democrats are also guilty of this. Here's Caroline Leavitt explaining why this bill was named the Pelosi Act in the first place.
Talked with the president about his position on the stock trading ban bill before Congress. He obviously had pretty loaded comments about Senator Hawley. There's some reporting that they've since spoken. What is his position on the current status of that bill?
The president has spoken to Senator Hawley, who called him, and the president took that call. As the president said in the Roosevelt Room yesterday, conceptually, he of course supports the idea of ensuring that members of Congress and United States senators who are here for public service cannot enrich themselves. And the reason that this idea to put a ban on stock trading for members of Congress is even a thing is because of Nancy Pelosi. I mean, she is rightfully criticized because she makes, I think, $174,000 a year, yet she has a net worth of approximately $413 million. In 2024, Nancy Pelosi's stock portfolio, this was a fascinating statistic to me, grew 70% in 1 year in 2024, and her portfolio outperformed every single large hedge fund in that same year and even more than doubled the returns of Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway.
Now, to be fair, that net worth is Nancy and her husband's combined. And here's another interesting stat. The couple's portfolio earned, quote, more than double the S&P 500's 25% gain. Now, I'm not saying Pelosi is guilty of any insider trading, but here are some of her trades from last year alone. They dumped 5,000 shares of Microsoft stock worth an estimated $2.2 million a few short months before the FTC announced an antitrust investigation into the tech giant. And another instance, they sold 2,000 shares of Visa stock worth around $500,000 less than 3 months before the credit card company was hit with a DOJ monopoly lawsuit. The most interesting one is a time when the couple paid between $600,000 and $1.25 million for a call option on cybersecurity company Palo Alto Networks. The same week, it was revealed the White House briefed lawmakers on a serious national security threat related to Russia. The shares rose close to 20% in the days after the move. I can go on for hours, but you get the point.
You're saying you think we need no changes now. You think that effectively accounts for any sort of
again, this suddenly sounds like it's personal. You're telling me what I don't do.
No, I'm just asking you a question because what we found over and over is when members of Congress have been investigated for securities violations, they have said over and over, "Oh, I had a trust. I didn't really know anything about it." And then as it turns out, they're communicating with their trustee, and they say, "Oh, we're allowed to do that." Yeah. So you're telling me maybe they violated multiple laws. No, Here's what I would say. I think that at the end of the day, if you're asking me why do we need to eliminate blind trusts, it's because blind trusts, I think, are often workarounds because they can be structured in multiple different ways, right? There's not one way to structure blind trust, correct? Or there's only one way?
There is a way that you have to structure it if you're in the Senate and going through ethics. Have you gone through that process before?
No, because I don't have any of these securities, James, because when I got elected, I sold all of my trusts and assets. Great. I don't have a blind trust. I practice what I preach. I don't have individual stocks. I don't trade in stocks. I'm not a billionaire, unlike others on this committee. And what I think is the American people are sending us a clear message, and I hope that they are watching this today. They're sending us a message that they want us to behave as they behave.
Exactly. We've seen how some lawmakers are treating Congress like a fast track to multiply their net worth. And it's about time someone did something to fix it. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this story. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, keep thinking.